In the golden age of Hollywood, one name stood above all others, a titan who didn't just make movies, he built worlds. This is the story of Cecil B. DeMille, a director whose ambition was so colossal it nearly buried a city. DeMille wasn't just a filmmaker. He was a showman, a ringmaster of the grand spectacle. When he decided to film the Ten Commandments in 1923, he didn't settle for sound stages or clever camera tricks. No, DeMille was a man who believed in authenticity. Even when filming a story from the Bible, he needed a location that could double for ancient Egypt. A vast, desolate landscape that would dwarf his actors and his audience. He found his promised land in the Guadalupe-Nipomo dunes of California. For months, this quiet stretch of coastline was transformed. Over 1,600 workers descended upon the sand, joined by thousands of animals. DeMille ordered the construction of a city, a jaw-dropping replica of the city of the pharaoh. The set was a marvel of engineering and artistry. The temple gates soared over 120 feet into the air, flanked by 21 5-ton sphinxes, each meticulously carved. This wasn't just a set. It was a temporary wonder of the world, a testament to DeMille's obsessive vision. The scale was biblical, just like the story he was telling. The production was legendary for its sheer size and chaos. Actors sweltered in the heat, camels and horses roamed the dunes, and DeMille, perched atop a specially constructed tower, directed the epic chaos below through a megaphone. He commanded his own army, orchestrating scenes of biblical plagues and the parting of the Red Sea with the authority of a pharaoh himself. The budget ballooned, becoming the most expensive film of its era. Hollywood whispered that DeMille's ambition had finally gone too far, that this gargantuan project would be his downfall. But they underestimated him. The Ten Commandments was a monumental success, a box office sensation that solidified DeMille's status as the king of the epic. The world was mesmerized by the scale and spectacle he had brought to the screen. And then, as filming wrapped, DeMille faced a new dilemma. What was he to do with his magnificent, temporary city? Dismantling it would be almost as expensive as building it. And DeMille, ever the cunning showman, was also fiercely protective of his magic. He couldn't bear the thought of rival studios sneaking in, stealing his sets for their own, cheaper productions. He couldn't let them ride on the coattails of his masterpiece. So he gave one final, shocking order. He commanded his crew to bury it. That's right, the entire colossal set, the towering gates, the grand temples. The avenue of Sphinx was toppled and covered by the shifting sands of the California dunes. DeMille wanted his city of the pharaoh to vanish, to become a legend, just like the story it helped to tell. He swore his crew to secrecy, and for decades the story was dismissed as a Hollywood myth, a tall tale spun by an eccentric director. The lost city of Cecil B. DeMille became a whisper, a treasure hunter's dream. For over 60 years, the desert kept its secret. But then, in the 1980s, a group of determined film enthusiasts and amateur archaeologists, inspired by clues left in DeMille's own autobiography, decided to go looking. They believed the legend was real. Armed with old photographs, ground-penetrating radar, and sheer determination, they began to dig. Slowly, painstakingly, the dunes began to give up their secrets. A piece of a plaster horse emerged from the sand. Then, a beautifully painted fragment of a pharaoh's head. And finally, the unmistakable, majestic face of a sphinx, perfectly preserved by the sand that had hidden it for so long. The myth was true. DeMille's lost city was real. Today, archaeologists are still excavating the site, unearthing more and more of this buried Hollywood treasure. The artifacts they find, from massive set pieces to small, everyday items left behind by the crew, paint a vivid picture of a bygone era of filmmaking. They aren't just digging up old movie props. They are recovering a piece of history, a monument to a time when a director's imagination was so powerful he could build a city in the desert, and then command it to disappear. But here is where the story takes its most surprising turn. Why would DeMille go to such extreme lengths, burying a set worth a fortune today, just to stop rival studios? The cost and effort were immense. The secret wasn't just about protecting his props. The real reason is far more intriguing and speaks to the very heart of the man himself. DeMille wasn't just burying a set. He was creating a legacy. He knew that by burying his city, he was seeding a legend. He was a master of publicity, a marketing genius long before the term was common. He understood that a lost, buried city was a far better story than a dismantled one. It created mystery, intrigue, a treasure hunt for future generations. He was, in effect, directing a story that would continue long after he was gone, a final act that would keep his name on people's lips for a century. He wasn't just hiding his set from competitors, he was ensuring his own immortality. The Lost City of DeMille isn't a story about wastefulness. It's the ultimate story of a director's final, brilliant act of showmanship. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey into Hollywood's past. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another dive into history's most amazing hidden tales. See you next time.